Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu continues to blast three European countries' decision to recognize a Palestinian state. And Arizona's Senate has passed controversial new immigration legislation. Good morning. I'm Windsor Johnston with NPR News, and here are today's top stories. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is continuing to lambast the announcement by three European countries to recognize a Palestinian state. NPR's Kat Lonsdorf reports Netanyahu is calling the decision a, quote, reward for terrorism.
Spain, Norway, and Ireland have said they will recognize a state of Palestine, a move those countries' leaders said was a step forward in the Middle East peace process. But Netanyahu, along with several other key lawmakers in Israel, saw it very differently. In a video released Wednesday night, Netanyahu said that a Palestinian state would be, quote, a terrorist state that would try to repeat the same events of October 7th. A prize for terrorism will not bring peace, he said. Israel has recalled its ambassadors from those three countries. Kat Lonsdorf, NPR News, Tel Aviv.
Controversial immigration legislation has advanced in the Arizona Senate. Wayne Schutsky from member station KJZZ reports if the measure passes the House, it will go directly to voters in November.
The measure would make it a state crime to cross the state's border with Mexico illegally. That's already illegal federally, but not locally enforceable. Republicans, like Senate President Warren Peterson, say the measure is needed to secure the border and combat crimes like drug and human trafficking.
How safe will this country be? How prosperous will this country be if we do not enforce our laws? It won't be.
Republicans modified the proposal to remove sections critics said would target people with DACA status brought to the country as children. But Senate Democrats argued the proposal will still result in racial profiling by law enforcement. For NPR News, I'm Wayne Schutsky in Phoenix.
At least 9 people were killed after a stage collapsed at a political rally in Mexico last night. The accident occurred at a campaign event for Mexican presidential candidate Jorge Alvarez Maínez. Videos on social media show people trying to climb out from under metal poles after the stage went down. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has announced the next general election in the United Kingdom will take place on July 4th. Villa Marks reports Sunak's party is behind in the polls, and his opponents have repeatedly pushed to hold a vote.
While making the announcement, Sunak said he arrived in office to stabilise Britain's economy, but he struggled to highlight his achievements since 2022 as nearby protesters sarcastically played a song called Things Can Only Get Better. I hope my work as Prime Minister shows that we have a plan, Sunak said, insisting he'd take difficult decisions unlike his opponents, the Labour Party. His Conservatives trailed them by 20 points in national polls.
That's Villa Marks reporting from London. A very different kind of airline will begin operating today. Its target flyer, dogs. The carrier, dubbed Bark Air, says its motto is that no dog should fly in a crate. Reporter Steve Futterman has more.
Matt Meeker is the CEO of Bark Air.
We've tried to build an experience for the dog that is as low anxiety and low stress as possible.
The initial plan is to have one flight each way each week between New York and Los Angeles, every other week between New York and London. Each dog must be accompanied by a person. Information is gathered about the dog before the flight.
If they are an experienced flyer, if they're anxious, if they get along well with other dogs.
The first flights will be on smaller private Gulfstream jets, only 10 dogs per flight, and it isn't cheap. $6,000 each way for the LA flights, $8,000 for the London flights. For NPR News, I'm Steve Futterman in Los Angeles.
This is NPR.